Hi everyone, welcome back. It's Sandra here, and thank you so much for clicking to watch this video. Well, today I want to do something a little bit different, and I'm hoping this is going to be like a series on my channel. I want to do something called Wednesday's Wahala. Okay, a little known fact about me: I love watching murder mystery videos like true crime, HLN, Forensic Files, First 48, like all those mystery, investigation, discovery, and all of that. I just enjoy watching them. Okay, so I've decided that I want to share some of those stories with you guys, and especially mostly the ones that are domestic violence gone wrong related, kind of on both sides. Okay, either on the female side or on the male side. So these are stories that they're not recent. They're not recent stories. I could pick any one that I like. It could be from the 1800s. It could be from whatever age or whatever year. But the idea is that we get the story, we get the lessons from there. So my first story is about Lorena and John Bobbitt. Now, if you have not read this story, if you don't know about it, don't worry, I'm going to tell you all about it, and then at the end we're going to bring in our opinions, our lessons, and whatever. So if you want to hear what I have to say about this story, you keep watching. This look, I'm going to be using one of my Glam Light palettes, the margarita one. Remember I did a video on this. This is what the palette looks like inside. Okay, so I'm going to be using this, and of course, as usual, I don't know what I want to do with it yet, so we're going to find out together. So let us do some makeup and talk about today's Wahala. Lorena was born in Ecuador, okay, and she grew up in Venezuela. So this young woman from Ecuador always dreamt of traveling to the United States, right? And luckily for her, she got a student visa in the 90s and she was able to travel to the US. Now she met her husband. John Bobbitt is an American. He was born and raised in New York. Okay. Dad abandoned him when he abandoned the family when they were still very, very young. And the mom struggled with substance abuse. So at some point, they had to take him away from his parents, from his mom, and he was raised by his uncle and his aunt. He decided to join the Marines, okay? When asked why he joined the Marines, this guy, he had no reason, okay? He didn't know. He was like, everybody else was going now. What was my own? Everybody else was joining the Marines, so me too, I'll just join. It's not like he really wanted it or it was a passion for him. That's why he went there. No, he just went because everybody else was doing it. His friends were going. So he was discharged from the Marine at some point. And while he was in the Marine, during one of their balls, like when he met his wife, Lorena. Lorena explained that to her it was love at first sight when she first saw this young man, okay? Like, it's like what she had dreamt of while she was in Venezuela growing up. Like, she'll come to America, she'll meet this tough guy who would be like in the Marines, wearing a uniform. You know, uniform guys, uniform guys are always hot now. They always make us feel some kind of way. So see, she saw this guy at the ball, and she explained that for her it was love at first sight. But on John's end, John was like, she's all right. You know, I saw this shy woman, and she could barely even speak English, and I just saw her. She was all right, so I just gave her my number. I said, call me. Dude, he acted like she was just okay. But anyway, they hooked up that day. It was, according to Lorena, it was some chemistry. Something was definitely going on between them, and they started dating from that day, right? And not long after they started dating, they decided to get married. John will claim later on that Lorena actually wanted to get married or forced him to get married because she didn't want her visa. Her visa was going to expire. Remember I told you she was here on student visa. So her visa was going to expire, and she had told John that if they didn't get married, she was going to be sent back to her country, which she didn't want. So they got married. But the marriage was toxic, like almost from the very beginning. Okay, as soon as they got married, things started to change. First of all, of Lorena's friends didn't like him because from the beginning of the relationship, they realized that when they went out together, he'll always like, she'll be the one to pay for dinner. Okay, when they went out, she'll be the one to pay for everything. And when they try to talk about it, she'll be like, oh no, maybe he just forgot his wallet. But how could Uncle be forgetting his wallet every day? Like every day they go out, he'll forget his wallet. And she's the one that has to pay for everything. So the friends started to notice, and they also noticed that he was a little controlling, you know. He started to beat on her. He started to assault her. He would get on her and force himself on her, right? And it was just a toxic relationship all the way. So this was called in several times. Okay, the friends, they would notice different instances of abuse. They would see her with her bruised face and stuff like that, everything. And then I forgot to mention that this guy, when he was discharged from the Marine, he didn't have a job. He didn't have anything doing. So he would stay home, watch TV morning to night, do nothing. And Lorena was the one that was taking care of the family. Okay, started working at the nail salon, and she was working for this woman that she really admired. Okay, this woman was rich. She had a nail salon, and she would work for her at the nail salon and then also babysit her child later in the evening. So it's kind of like Lorena had two jobs just to make sure that she could take care of she and her husband. One day when Lorena discovered she was pregnant, she claims that right, he asked her to get rid of the pregnancy because according to him, they weren't in a good financial situation to take care of the child. Okay, because remember I told you that he wasn't working. So he was like, nope, I'm not having any babies. You know, you need to get rid of it. But she was kind of hesitant because she wanted a child. And he threatened her and said that if you dare have this child, I'm going to leave you and you'll be left raising that child all by yourself. So that kind of scared her, right? Because that was the last thing she wanted. First, she didn't want to be a single mother. And secondly, she did not want to go back to her country. Like going back to her country was not an option at the time. John threatened her with everything that he had in him. Say, if you do not get rid of this child, I'm going to leave you, okay? And you'll be a single mother. And you know, I'm an American. He would always threaten her with the document kind of thing, you know. I'm American. If I just need to make one phone call and they will take everything from you and send you back to your country. So she got scared. So she decided to go and get rid of the pregnancy against her will. Okay. Now the abuse continued. At this point, she was almost having it, or maybe she had already had it, but I want to believe that she was looking for a way out already. She had been looking for a way out, and it was kind of already getting to her, because a couple of days before the incident, she had gone to the police station to file a restraining order against him. Okay, but she never went through with it. Apparently, they had told her that she had to wait a couple of hours, like she had to wait and come back maybe in an hour or two so that the restraining order could be processed. But she decided she didn't want to wait around. Okay, that was just a couple of days before the whole thing just went sour. So she decided she didn't want to wait and she left, right? Now, on the day of the incident, her husband, John, had gone out with a friend. Apparently there was a friend that was living with them, that was crashing with them for a little bit. I think he was sleeping on the couch or something. So John had gone out with that friend. And when he got back, she claims that he got on her. Okay. And as usual, he started to force himself on her. Like he wanted to have it that night, and she wasn't in the mood. She didn't want to. So he started to force himself on her. After her husband had forced himself on her, she kind of like had enough. Okay, she had enough and she snapped. This woman went into the kitchen to get a drink of water, and she saw a knife and she snapped, and she was like, this man, he's never gonna do this again. Like, he's never gonna hurt me like this again in my whole life. Like, I have to stop this. And she took that knife, went into the room where he was sleeping, and chopped off his dingling. This woman just chopped off this man's dingling just like that. And what's amazing is that he was so drunk that he didn't even feel it. He did not feel it at all. Okay, so that he had to wake up later on and discover that his dingling was missing. Okay, she chopped it off clear cut. Like, I don't know if she had some experience doing it, or I'm sorry, it's not funny, I shouldn't be laughing, but it was just strange. Like, why would you think of doing something like that? But at the end, we came to find out that this woman, I mean, if she just wanted to get rid of this man, okay, if it was premeditated and she wanted to get rid of him, I think she would have just gotten rid of him. She wouldn't think of going there to that area. For her to go to that area and cut that, it was really saying something. And that's why a lot of people believe that, yes, she was abused, because you won't just go for a man's dingling like that, unless you're trying to really make a statement or something. Okay, so she did that, and like I said, she didn't realize herself until she was driving. Okay, when she came through, she noticed that she had this dingling in her hand and a knife on the other hand. So she was surprised and she was like, what the heck? And she threw the thing out the window. Okay, she tossed it out the window like, what is this thing doing in my hands? She later went to a dumpster, and that is where she disposed of the weapon, the knife that she had in her hand. So the guy, on the other hand, wakes up and discovers that, Jesus Christ, where's my wingling? Like, he just woke up from sleep and discovered that his wingling is gone. Okay, Massa, what are you going to do in that situation? So he wakes up in a pool of blood. He calls his friend. Remember his friend? He and his friend had gone out, and his friend was sleeping on the couch. So he wakes his friend up and he's like, man, my dingling is gone. Oh, this is the strangest thing. And he was in pain, in pool of blood and all of that. So the guy calls 911, and only God knows. I can imagine the call that he gave to 911, like, my friend lost his dingling or something, because at that point I don't think at that point they really knew what was going on, if it was the wife that had cut it off, right? They didn't really know. They were just still trying to figure out what was going on. So the police comes, and the lady finally comes back and she reports herself, right? She tells them what she had done. And first of all, they're like, Auntie, right now we don't want to hear it. Right now we don't want to hear what you did. Just tell us where the thing is, because we need to find it. Okay, we need to find it. If there is any way that this man's dingling is going to be saved, we need to find it very, very fast. They need to save it. So she tells them where she dropped it, right? So the police is out. They are dispatched there to go and look for the wingling. So all of them are there. They get to the place and they are there looking for it. They have torches because it's at night, so they have torches going dingling, dingling, where are you? So it's rumored that while they were there searching for the wingling, one of the police officers stepped on it. I'm sorry, I don't have, this is not funny at all, but come on. Just imagine they are out there in the dark looking for this wingling and somebody steps on it. Imagine the police officer like, hey, Jesus, he's here, I found it. You people come, I found it, it is right here, See, this man will be traumatized. Okay, that police officer who stepped on it will be traumatized. I can imagine all the men, like all the people that were searching, the police officers that were searching, searching for a man's dingling. Just imagine how they are feeling at this point. Like, they are ready to go apologize to their wives. They are ready to go do anything that the wives say they should do. Because you can... How do you lose your dingling just like that? Okay? So these men are out there searching for the dingling, and they finally find it, right? So what they do, they're supposed to, like when they're retrieving parts, you know, these people that do donations and stuff, when they're retrieving parts, they have to put it in ice to preserve the nerves or the veins or whatever they have to preserve on it, so that it doesn't go bad, right? So they have to put it in ice, and luckily for them, right next to the place where she dumped it, there was a 7-Eleven. So they go into the 7-Eleven and they go into the 7-Eleven and they get a hot dog case. Okay, they get a hot dog case and they put it there and they put some ice in it to preserve it, so that they can rush it to the hospital for it to be reinstated or redone on the guy. Miraculously, the dingling is reconstructed. How do I say it? They put it back, right? And it's fully functional. Everything, all's well that ends well, right? They save his wingling and the guy is back to normal. Now, what happens next is that the woman, of course, she's supposed to face some charges, right? Because nobody can imagine why a woman would decide to do that to her husband. So she faces charges, but the husband also faces charges because she was claiming that she did that because he forced himself on her. You know, he took her when she didn't want to. Okay, you know what I mean. I don't want to use the word. So that was her claim. So he also went to trial. He also went. They had two separate cases, one for him and one for her. On his case, he was found not guilty. Okay, he was acquitted because the issue of marital forcing upon herself came up. Okay, because it's believed that, okay, this is your wife. Okay, how can you force yourself on her? How can she claim that you forced yourself on her when it's your wife? It's your wife. You can have it when you want. You can have it whether she likes it or not. You can have it. That's your wife. So that's what a lot of people believed. And I think that's where the technicality came, because they're claiming that she cannot claim that, okay, because it's her husband. In my opinion, that shouldn't be the case, okay? Because yes, these two are married. It's his wife, or he's the husband, and all of that, but it doesn't change the fact that it's still her body, and she still has the right to say no if she doesn't want to, Besides, this thing is supposed to be a pleasurable thing for both sides, right? So if I'm not in the mood, I'm not feeling it, why should I be doing it? And if I say no, no is no, okay? No is no. If she don't want it, she don't want it. If you force yourself on her, she has the right to say that you did that to her, and you should be facing charges. But unfortunately, they didn't see it that way, and that's how his own case ended. He was acquitted. On her side, on Lorena's side, when she went to court, she brought all this history of abuse, how he would put his hand on her, he would forcefully do it to her, and he had been doing it to her for so long. And a lot of people will ask, again, I said this before, why didn't she just leave? Okay, this is an abusive relationship. You're not happy. He's abusing you physically, mentally, sexually, and all of that. Why aren't you leaving? Okay, and she did give a reason. She didn't believe in divorce. She didn't want to go back to her country because he would always threaten her, like, if you left, if you do this, I'm going to leave you and you'll be sent back to your country. I'm going to call ICE and they will come and get you and they'll send you back to your country and all of that. So she was scared, that's why she didn't want to leave. But after talking to psychologists and therapists and all of that, they determined that she was suffering from battered women syndrome. It's a woman that has been abused for so long, and at some point they go through their mental stuff and all of that. So they're claiming that at that time when she did the act, she wasn't herself. She was like mentally off at that time, so she didn't know what she was doing. That's why she did it. Okay, so that was her defense. And they said that they had asked her to plead guilty, let her plead guilty so that she will get a lesser charge, like she will spend less time in jail. And she refused. She was like, no, I'm not going to plead guilty because this is something I didn't know this was happening. I didn't even realize what I did. I can't remember doing this at all. And the only thing I remember is that I saw the knife, and then I found myself in the car with the dingling in one hand and the knife in one hand. So I don't remember this. I'm not going to say I'm guilty because I wasn't. Okay. So she took her chances and went on to the trial. And luckily for her, the jury believed her. Okay. Jury believed her that she wasn't mentally stable at the time. She was found not guilty with reasons of insanity. I think that's how they say it. So for that, she wasn't going to go to jail, but I think she was supposed to spend some time in a mental facility or something for a period of time. Okay. So that's the story. She went on there, spent her time in the mental facility, and she was released and moved on with life. And the husband also moved on with life. So that's the story. Okay, today, what are they doing today? So this lady, Lorena, she has gone back to her maiden name, which I can't remember what her maiden name is, but she's gone back to her maiden name and she's remarried. She has a daughter. She's moved on with her life. She hopefully has achieved that American dream. She's still in the US. She speaks, I listened to a recent interview of her, and she now speaks very good English. Remember, John had said that she barely even spoke English, so now she speaks very good English, and she is now an advocate for battered women. Like, she goes out and speaks to abused women, trying to talk to them about knowing the signs, and how to get out and stuff like that. John, on the other hand, okay, this is somebody who lied in court. He said that he wasn't abusing the wife, and the wife is the one that was abusing him, and he pretty much denied everything that she said, okay? But his life after that trial, his life after all of this doesn't reflect that at all. Guess what? Guess what he did immediately after the trial? He had this adult movie producer approach him to film an adult movie, right? You know the adult movies that I'm talking about. So he was gonna film that to prove to people that his dealing was still working. Okay, so he did that because, first of all, he had to raise a whole lot of money for the trial. He had this huge surgery that he did. I can imagine how much he had to spend for that surgery. Okay, so he had that to pay. He was in debt, all of that. Because this whole thing, it was so controversial. Like, up till today, a lot of people still do not agree because we don't know the whole truth. He's saying one thing, she's saying the other. Okay, a lot of people believe the lady, Lorena. A lot of other people believe John. Okay, they don't believe that he did it. One, they don't believe that he did it, and two, they don't support, like, even if he did it, she had no right to take away his dingling like that. Okay, so it was a whole big thing, a battle of the sexes back then. A lot of women supported. I watched a Steve Harvey show where Steve Harvey invited her to the show, and this Lorena got a standing ovation, you guys. She got a standing ovation from the women. Like, some women were like, woo, 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 like, yes, girl, go ahead, go ahead. But I'm not supporting her actions, okay? That's what she felt she had to do. And again, she claims that she was blank at the time. She didn't know what was going on. If that's what was gonna help her get out of the situation, it is what it is. Okay, so what do you guys think? Okay, what do you guys think about this situation? Do you feel like she was right to do so? Do you feel like she had to, they were right to find her not guilty because she used the insanity defense? What do you guys think? And how about John? What do you guys think about John? Because this is somebody that I believe, like, from all the videos, the research that I did, I believe that he was lying. Okay, and like I said, if you can judge from how it all went down after that, okay, it is said that Lorena was approached to do like this magazine covers or something like that, Playboy or something, and she refused. Okay, because that's not who she's raised. That's not how she was raised. That's not what she believes in, and she didn't want to do that. But John, on the other hand, as soon as they approached John to do an adult movie, the guy was all for it. Okay, wait for the adult movie. So let me know what you think about this. Okay, my final thoughts on this, you guys. I just want to say that, like I said earlier, I'm going to be focusing more on domestic violence cases. It's really important that we learn the red flags. We learn those signs of domestic violence, and we should be able to leave when we can. Okay, and again, I'm gonna say it's on both sides. In some cases it is the woman that's violent, in some cases it is in 90% of the cases it is the man that's violent, but women are violent too. Okay, now there's a lot of speculation about this case, if this woman had planned this, if that's was her way of leaving the relationship. Like, people will ask, like, okay, if you were if you were molested, if you were being molested by your husband, why didn't you just leave? And people will always ask that question. And I'm going to be very, very honest. I don't understand it either. I don't understand why some women stay. Okay? And I don't understand it why, because I have never been in that situation. Okay? Unless you were in a situation, you may not be able to understand. Okay, people give various reasons why, and I've never been there. I don't know what it's like, so I don't understand it. Okay, but all I'm saying is get out. Okay, get out. Because if you hurt this person, they're not worth it. You're going to spend the rest of your life locked up in jail or something. Is it worth it? Are they worth you spending the rest of your life in jail? No. Just get out. Say something. Call somebody. Ask for help. Okay? Now, I want to believe that she snapped. I want to believe that she didn't plan this. This wasn't premeditated. Okay? She probably was thinking of how to get out, ways to get out, but this one, she didn't plan it. Okay, I believe that she didn't. She just snapped because she had had enough. Okay. Another thing I'm gonna say is that they say knowledge is power. Okay, you need to know, get information, read, know things. Like, I know back in the 90s it wasn't that easy. Like, we couldn't just go on Google and Google stuff like, how do I do this, how do I do that, right? But ask questions, find out from people. Because this woman, I believe that one of the other reasons why she stayed was because this guy will always threaten her, like, if you do anything, if you don't get rid of that baby, I'm gonna call ICE, I'm gonna call immigration, and they'll send you back and stuff like that. She didn't know better. Okay, if you're here, you're an immigrant, you have to know your rights, know the things that will send you back. No, you're not a criminal, right? What have you done? Why would this guy just call and say, come pick her up, and they just come and pick you up for no reason without you doing anything? If she knew that this guy couldn't just call like that and send her back to her country, maybe that would have given her enough power to leave him and say, okay, do what you got to do. I know nothing's gonna happen to me. Okay, so do your research, read, ask questions, do what you got to do to empower yourself as women or as men. Like, everybody needs to know that, because you don't want to be in that situation. Okay, so that's all I got for you guys. My lips are a mess. I do not like the lips one bit, but it is what it is. This is it for our first episode of Wednesday's Wahala. Let me know in the comment section what you think about our video for today. Please remember to like this video and subscribe if you have not already. Show some love, take care of yourselves and each other, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.